like to call to order the November 10th meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission of 2025. Gina, roll call whenever you have a moment, please.
Rocco Gonzalez.
Here.
Mark Kleesner.
Here.
Mark Piontek.
Here.
Mayor Hagedorn.
Here.
John Borgman.
Here.
Chuck Watson. Chad Briggs.
Here.
Carolyn Witt. Mike Wood.
Here.
Aaron Beckman.
Here.
Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we continue the meeting tonight, I would like to ask for a moment of silence for our past chairman, Tom Holtmeyer. Tom was appointed in April of 1999 and served 26 years and 6 months on the commission, at which he was a chairman from June of 2003 for 22 years and 4 months. Thank you. So, our first order of business then is an election of a new chairperson. Would entertain anyone's motions for that position.
I'll make a motion for John Borgman.
Second.
Motion and a second for the commission to appoint me as chairman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I guess there's no one. So thank you.
We need a vice chairman now too? 'Cause you
Yes,
were
we
the
do.
vice chairman.
Yes, we need to select a co-chair also. So I would entertain motions for that.
I don't know. It's a good question.
Can we nominate people that aren't here?
Yeah. Do we have to do that tonight? Okay. Why don't we postpone that till we get a full council here? I think that'd be better, so. All right, moving on. Approval of the minutes from the September 8th meeting. Entertain a motion for that.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion
Second.
Seconded to approve the minutes from the September 8th meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, do you want to talk about an appointment?
Yeah. To take Tom's place, I've asked Ken Shear, and he has graciously consented. So Ken needs to go before the council like we all did, or like you all did anyway. And so that will take place on Monday, so I anticipate him sailing through that process, and he'll be seated up here next meeting with us. Welcome, Ken.
Welcome. Thank you. Okay, moving on to file number 25-1102, Plan Amendment, Washington Redevelopment Corporation, public hearing.
Yeah, so this is about amending the redevelopment corporation plan in order to sell 1.8 acres of land to Frick's Quality Meats. They're planning expansion of their facilities out there. Charles and I have been, and the rest of building engineering have been working through the logistics of that, but this is for the sale of the 1.8 acres. So.
And I understand they are redesigning the stormwater retention basin to accommodate, to pick up this acreage, is that correct?
Is that, yes, that's correct.
Okay. Any questions from the commission? Anyone from the audience care to address us on this issue? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Chad,
Second.
second by Mike, that we approve the sale of the property and the lot subdivision of the property at, I forgot the address. Schultz Tract 2 Industrial Park. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. And that's all we needed to do tonight, correct? Ruth?
Correct.
Okay. All right, next item on the agenda, file number 25-1103, sketch plan review of Beaker Point PDR.
Yes, so this is the first step in a five-step process for the planned residential development. So what we've got here is 18 acres of land just south of the East-West Parkway and Stonebridge. It's along Beaker Road. The highlighted piece right there is the land. Can see it a bit clearly now. It's a bit clearer. It's these two parcels, and here is we can go back to this, but this is the elevation of the site, and I will pull up the sketch plan itself. So this is a 57 lot subdivision. It's pretty consistent with what the comp plan recommends. Lots 7,500 square feet or larger, a mix of detached single-family homes, 2- and 3-car garages, curvilinear streets, consistent with what the comp plan recommends. The reason why this is going through the planned development process is because the applicant wants 40-foot streets, or excuse me, a 40-foot right-of-way and 30-foot streets. And as I showed on the, I can go back to the PowerPoint, but it's on a hill, so they want 12-foot grades along these streets here. 12%, yes, thank you, appreciate that. Let's see, am I missing anything else? Density is pretty similar to a lot of the R1D lots. So that's the primary reason why this is going through the plan development process, is because of the grades and the right-of-way widths. We've got the applicant here to talk. I guess also we don't need you to approve this per se, just accept it in the minutes, and we'll take comments and hear what you folks have to say. So, Cameron.
Good evening. I just want to thank you all, or thank John specifically for recognizing Tom as the chairman. I'd spoken in front of Tom a long time. I didn't realize it was that long, so that was kudos to Tom. And I think the board made a wise decision in your position, and I think Mayor's recommendation of Ken is wise. So it was a big loss, for Tom to leave, but I think it should be good from here. So
I
congratulations,
have
guys.
big shoes to fill.
Yeah, I think you'll do fine. Okay, moving on. So, yeah, as I think Aaron did a good job of, excuse me, outlining kind of where it's at. As you know, there are the regular codes that we can utilize, and that's what. And by the way, it's Vic Horsecamp's here with Northern Star Homes. This is another community of Northern Star. Basically, it started at Malvern on the Stone Bridge overlook the creek. So this is a continuation of that community out there. So he's the builder building this. So Vic was able to acquire these two properties here side by side, and so south of the east-west gateway. And basically we were fixed on the east by an existing boundary, fixed on the west by an existing boundary, fixed on the south by Beaker Road, and fixed on the north by his prior development. And so as Aaron alluded to, that these PDRs, Planned Development Residential, are a mechanism by which we can utilize to entertain different things related to the code. So in this particular thing, it's the right-of-way widths and the street widths. And why are we asking for that? So from the east side to the west side, the product that Vic wants to build by by having these right-of-way narrowed, he picks up basically 30 feet across the site. And so that's just enough for him to get the buildings and the decks and all the product he wants to build across that site. Doesn't seem like much, but every foot counts, so to speak. And another thing that is kind of related to the interconnectivity, I saw that on the agenda tonight, was that typically the market wants a cul-de-sac, a wooded cul-de-sac walkout lot. So the buyers typically want wooded cul-de-sac walkout lots. The interconnectivity committee was talking about how to basically attract more interconnectivity within a development. And this is one way this is done, meaning that having this loop road, coming upslope rather than downslope on the cul-de-sac, that's all things that I can get into if we want to talk about how it kind of works. But basically, this was a good, I guess, prelude or a result of the talk with the interconnectivity meeting, meaning that we saw an opportunity here to basically say, hey, here's a perfect example of how we can use the PDR mechanism to, I guess, achieve what's a balance between what the market wants and between what the EMS folks want. So we talked about connecting other portions of this subdivision to other sides in a couple different site plan review and other comment periods. But basically, we looking at what's around it, we thought it was best not to, but we did talk about, Aaron, you want to scroll to the north a little bit there, please? So we talked about how people are using that area out there, and what the builders noticed is that the Rabbit Trail Drive extension, there's a sidewalk there on the west side, and by connecting in the middle of that between lot 11 and 12, there's a walking trail, pedestrian trail, that's going to connect the basically this development to the east-west gateway, which would then allow someone to walk from this subdivision to the north along east-west gateway, along the bike path on east-west gateway, out to Beaker Road, up Rabbit Trail Drive. So in theory, you could live in this subdivision and walk to Target via your existing network, which was and so the builder identified that, out there on Rabbit Trail Drive, it's a lot of people walk out there, and it's nice and level and all that. Mm-hmm. So we thought that was a good connectivity approach to this also. So, and as I forgot to mention, on the north side, there's also a gas line running through there, and we put that in the common ground there, so there's be a large common ground section, a large green space there, proposed detention basin, water quality basin. I'm not sure if I've forgotten anything or not. We submitted the house plans, the elevation views, like the code wanted also. It's just a little more on the PDR portion. There's just a little more things that the code requires in this. And so this is a typical thing that Vic's been building out there and will continue to build here. So I'll stop talking now, and if you guys got any questions, ask me, or got a question for Vic, I'd be more than happy to ask.
So Cameron, I want to elaborate a little bit on the discussions that we had. So the commission all knows all of the houses will either have 2-car or 3-car garages.
That's right.
And are offset back far enough that they'll be able to park their cars or park additional cars in the driveway without impinging on the street.
Correct. We did not ask for relaxation of the conventional setback. It's all 25-foot setback. In this case, it'd be a 30-foot street centered in a 40-foot right-of-way. So that means on each side, there's 5 feet of green space between the edge of the concrete and the right-of-way. There's additional 25 feet. So in this case, it's 30 feet from the edge of the pavement to the face of the garage at a minimum, whereas in a normal subdivision, it's 37.5 feet. So it's just, most people can't see 2.5 feet, but there is a difference of 2.5 feet of green space.
And if we would approve this, it would require no parking on one side. And I believe we talked about which side would be the best one to do that on. Did we discuss that with
Yeah, we
Charles?
did. Was it the inside, Charles? Do you remember? Inside,
It
right?
was the inside, wasn't it?
I believe it was actually the outside.
Was it the outside?
Because you identified as the snowplow was going down the hill.
You're right.
You know, that's what you talked about, but I think we're open to either one, whatever makes sense for you
That's right.
guys.
We decided it would be easier to hit a mailbox than it would be to hit a car.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about lots on the east side when we were talking about that, so it's, the west side, could be a different argument, because but we don't want to switch, obviously.
No.
So I don't know that we care or have any input, but.
The other thing I talked to Aaron today about, and Charles too, was what type of signage would be required for the no parking. And the best we could determine is, at minimum, would be no parking signs, very similar to what's in Locust Valley, if you've been to the one down here off of 8th Street. But we could add, since this is a PDR, we can require more, you know, if we wanted the curbs painted yellow or something else too. Just bear in mind that the city maintains that after the developer does that, so that would have to be added to the street maintenance program too. So we have that ability to do those kind of things with PDR also, if we feel it's necessary. I did go through and spend a little time down at Locust, down there, just to see what's different times of days, and I never found a problem with parking down there. So I'll leave it up for discussion if anybody has any questions of Cameron, but that's kind of some of the background that either he and I, or Charles and I, and Aaron have been talking about this for the last couple weeks.
I don't know if it would make sense to do, like, to paint the curbs yellow. I just feel like I don't know, it wouldn't look the best, right, as a neighborhood, but especially if we're getting pretty good through traffic and not much parking in other subdivisions like this, I think the designs make the most sense. I know from like a connectivity standpoint, for the walking trail or anything like that, I'm always a proponent of trying to do anything that does help with our interconnectivity, whether that's walking, biking, things like that. Especially without any parking or without street parking, that should also help, like with walking, biking, what have you. So I think it's a win-win there.
Cameron, I noticed you changed the position of that compared to what we have in our packet.
Yeah, that's correct. So good observation. So yeah, I was originally we had the trail between lots 9 and 10, and what happened there was after we graded out, after we talked, it just got too steep going down there. So by moving the detention basin east and that trail east, we gained about a 12-foot delta elevation of savings. So it made the trail flatter. So we want to make sure that if we build it, people will use it. So we're trying to make it, yeah, that's why.
What is that grade for the trail?
So don't hold me to this, but we're trying to keep it under 10%. We're trying to keep it under 10%. So, because we had got it to 17%. We knew it was too high.
You gotta want it.
No,
that
no,
walking trail.
no.
Any other questions for Cameron while
Yeah,
he's up
Cameron,
here?
I think it's all a great design.
Thank you.
And I really like the walking trail as well. Now, is that an expense that's picked up by the developer?
Yeah, it'd be at the developer's expense, yes.
Okay.
Unless you guys want to contribute to it, you know, we set up a GoFundMe or something like that if you wanted to.
I'm just wondering, thank you.
What about the maintenance of that down the road?
So I think what we'll do is we'll build it to the city standard, and I think you guys would be willing to take it, I would guess. Maybe not, I don't know. So
why I
I guess we're open for discussion on that. You know, I don't know, to be
Well,
honest.
I'm thinking we're probably gonna start getting more of these when we
Yeah.
start talking about interconnectivity, and I just wanted to bring that up just to make sure that all parties kind of understand who's gonna do what 10 years from
Yeah.
now.
I think I hear Darren and Charles talking about it now, and I think we probably need to have that conversation. We'll have an answer for you. I
Okay.
think.
I'm just worried about, I don't know if there's ADA standards for grade, if the city takes that over, if it's versus a homeowners association. I mean, we've run into problems before with,
You know the
We've
routine.
run into problems before with our own design, just like even putting a sidewalk through a park to get to the city pool, and the grade being a lot less than that and having issues. So we need to confer and talk about that, that's
Okay.
all.
Very good.
What is the current state? I forget what the park's name is, but like south of Target, there's a walking trail right there between the subdivision.
Yeah.
Is that maintained by the city or is that?
Yes.
That's a good example, Rocco, because between the two phases there, so a handicap ramp is 8.7%.
Okay.
That's what a grade on a handicap ramp is. Now, granted, you can only go so far, and then you have to have a landing, and then you go so far again. But that trail, I mean, there's parts of that trail that is pretty steep. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we can figure it out.
The other thing that they're asking is 12% grade on the streets, so I had Charles pull some numbers for us too. Just to give you an example, 14th Street west of Jefferson is 15%. Westway Drive off of 5th Street is 15%. Sunnyside by Washington High School is 12, and Jefferson Street south of Front is 12. just to give you some driving feeling for what that 12% grade would do. And we have a street out in the Stonebridge now that we approved several months ago that is at 12%. So if you really wanted to get a good look at that, you could go out there and see what that looks like in that development.
And I understand that makes it tough for snow plowing, but we also have to understand that the community that we live in, we have hills and valleys, and we have to work with the developers in order to get land developed.
Yeah.
And
There's a
honestly,
balance.
I
Yeah.
didn't realize it was that important until we had the connectivity meetings with the street department and we started talking about all this stuff. And
Right.
it really kind of, I didn't even think about trash collection, snow plowing. But
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a difference too.
Yeah, I appreciate that comment, Chad. To your point and the discussion going on here, when we started Stonebridge, no, I'm sorry, the Overlook, we had some tough grades there. And that question came up, and you may or may not remember, but that was in 2018-ish, 18-ish, I want to say. And at that time, I think I counted 49 streets that were over 10% in Washington. So there's a lot of, just to your point, topographically speaking, as we go south, it just gets steeper in places,
Right.
you know, and so if we, it's a situation that we're faced with.
Any other questions of the commission?
This is gonna be considered affordable housing, right?
Yeah,
Be in the neighborhood of what, 300,000?
yes, I believe that's accurate, yes.
I mean, that's what we talked about,
Yeah.
street connectivity too,
Correct.
was that kind of seems to be the number for affordable housing, and that's
Correct.
something that I think our comprehensive plan, and we've talked about for a long period of time, is that Washington continues to need affordable housing.
Yeah, this is not intended to be another Stonecrest, you know, type
Right.
of, yeah, it's intended to be on the affordable side.
Well, and I think what's interesting in relation to that is that all the houses that have been built out there are being sold as fast as he can build them.
Right.
So I think we're in the right market, so I think it's a good way to continue that. So, any other questions for developer?
just have one, John.
Sure.
And maybe Cameron can talk about this. Lots 55, if you can go down, lots 55 through 57. Those are obviously, according to this, going to have direct access onto Beaker Road, which is a major roadway. We don't try to typically have those. I mean, I don't know, like, if you look at South Point where Stonecrest was and where those duplexes are located. So I was just going to ask to see if he could address whether there's going to be some turnaround areas on those lots.
Yes, that's a good point, Darren. Yes, and we did talk to Vic about that, and we talked about making sure that those people can turn around on their own property and then drive out forward-facing onto Beaker Road. That way they're not backing out onto Beaker Road.
Beaker, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah.
So
Glad
would
Darren
the
brought that up.
setbacks on those 3 lots be the same as all the others?
It's shown the same, John. If we need to make them a little bit further back, we could. There's a little more room there on those lots. Those are bigger lots. But yeah, we'll make sure there's enough room, you know, to get the car turned around before it exits onto Beaker Road.
And
So
those,
wouldn't be any parking allowed on Beaker Road,
No, right.
so.
those lots are required to have turnarounds in our code, so,
They are,
yep,
okay,
because they're on Beaker Road.
okay. Any other questions for Cameron? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cameron.
Anyone in the audience would like to speak to this? If not, we don't really need a motion to move this.
Just accept it into your minutes and,
Into our minutes, and I think it's a good plan. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Aaron, update on Street Connectivity Index Steering Committee.
yeah, so I have here just kind of a brief summarized version of what we talked about a couple weeks ago in October. So we got a good turnout, several of you and some people in the audience as well, and some other developers and stakeholders. So this is a project that Sarah and Charles started earlier this year, as you know, we were talking about interconnectivity, making the streets more connected for a variety of reasons. The main reasons being to reducing travel distance, improving utility connections, better emergency vehicle access, more efficient public service access, mail, trash, snow plowing, et cetera. These things that, you know, we're talking about. You know, for And one way that we can do that was by establishing a street connectivity index. This was proposed by in our comp plan, and what this would be is you would calculate the street connectivity of each subdivision. So taking, and that would be calculated by taking the number of links divided by the number of nodes. Links are roadway sections, and nodes are the roadway intersections themselves. So the comp plan put out that number of 1.4. We, Charles and I, and those in engineering and building, kind of looked at that and said maybe more in the range of 1.6 is where we kind of want to strive for, because 1.4 just kind of felt like a lot of the stuff we were getting originally, or just without the street connectivity index, just the amount of connectivity that we're getting right now. So that being said, this is various connectivity within the city of Washington. You've got a more established block off High and Fifth there with a street connectivity index of 1.57. And then you've got a newer subdivision in the grand scheme of things, Autumn Leaf, with a street connectivity index of 1.13. So as you can see, having more gridded structure, a lot more streets intersecting with each other really boost that up there. So that being said, at the meeting, we came up with sort of a framework, kind of big picture thinking. Hey, this is in so many years, what would it take to have have new development in Washington be interconnected, and what are the mechanisms that we can do to achieve that? So as I was saying earlier, having a connectivity index minimum of 1.6 required for most residential dwellings or residential subdivisions, and we decided to sort this out based on the density of the subdivision, because if you have more people who are living in a specific area, you're going to need better access for services, emergency responders, that sort of thing. So you want more connectivity for more people who live in a specific area. So how this would work is, each development would be required to meet the connectivity index for the level of density they would be at. If for some reason, you couldn't meet that level of connectivity, we came up with some incentives to kind of pad that connectivity. So some of those included sidewalks along local streets, sidewalks along cul-de-sacs, sidewalks kind of like the one we just saw at Beaker Point, connecting like from the end of the cul-de-sac to a major road or to a park or something, or sidewalks along a major street. Those would boost the connectivity and make it so. Let's say you're just by dividing the links by the nodes, you would get like 1.4. Then you would install sidewalks in this development, and you would meet the minimum connectivity. And to encourage development that's above this required connectivity, we came up with a list of some incentives for developments. So we said for every 0.2 above the minimum connectivity required, you get a specific development bonus. And those were kind of work in progress things. We didn't have like we had a list, but it was very rough. We said like, varying setbacks, varying parking requirements. Just kind of that part still needed some work. So what would development look like under the street connectivity index? Well, you would still have, you could still build a lot of residential suburban neighborhoods. Cul-de-sacs can still be built, large high-quality single-family homes. Street layouts promote connected, safe, and efficient neighborhoods. And you could get various incentives if you met the required connectivity index. If challenging topography or other hardships are present, exceptions can be made to these requirements. And then those who live in these subdivisions will get a greater return on city services by having better emergency response times, smoother snow removal, and trash pickup, and et cetera. So it was also brought up in the meeting that there was an interest to see how some of the current development in Washington, current new construction in Washington, held up against this proposed connectivity index. So here's Stonebridge, Plat 4, connectivity index of 2. So there's only really one street, one node there, so that really helps it. It works in its favor. It exceeds the desired connectivity index by about 0.4 there. And I can come back to these. Looking at Stonebridge, Plat 1, connectivity index of 1.3. The 1.6 was the target there, less than the desired connectivity index. A lot of cul-de-sacs kind of, making it not as connected. The creek at Coke Farm, Plat 2, connectivity index of 1.1. This one's all cul-de-sacs, so that really, doesn't work in its favor. 1.6 was the desired connectivity index. And the Highlands, with a connectivity index of 1.8. This development was in the 2.6 to 4 density. I just realized I didn't explain that. That's dwelling units per acre. So number of homes divided by the area is how we get that metric. And that met the connectivity index. So talking about what happened at the meeting and next steps. So the idea of a street connectivity index was discussed, and committee members seemed somewhat receptive to some of the development bonuses. There was a concern expressed about how certain development bonuses work together. There was also a discussion, a pretty lengthy discussion, about developing a grading scale for the connectivity index, as much of the projected growth area south of town has steep terrain. So areas that are flatter have a higher connectivity index than areas that are steeper. There was some concern expressed exactly about how sidewalks were accounted for when adding to the connectivity index. And in terms of next steps, it's clear that we're going to need to work on this a lot more before we get something final to you, because we need buy-in from you folks, the development community, staff, and we're not quite there yet. So over the next couple of months, Charles and I and everyone else are going to get together and get you folks a more concrete list of, hey, this is how we're going to do this, because we need to build more consensus than we have with this version of things. And just to reiterate, this whole presentation was just kind of the regulations I talked about were all very pie in the sky. Like we're not going to come to you next month and say this is what we're doing. So just a discussion prompter. But overall, I'd say it was a pretty good meeting. For those of you that were there, I thought some good conversations were had. And I guess if any comments from you folks.
Well, I'll add to Aaron. I think Chuck, myself, Mike, and Tom were the four that were there from the commission. And it was really heartwarming to see the discussions between real estate realtors and developers and everything. And I think it was very good discussions between everybody to try to come to some common ground. And I think this is a good start towards heading to that. So you'll hear more about it, and we'll be meeting more. And I guess if there's others that want to come sit in on it, they're welcome to from the commission anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. Please email me, and I'll get you on that list. So.
Okay.
My only, because I wasn't able to go there, my question is, how does this interconnectivity, the 1.6, or what the grading that you had, how does that compare to other communities? Like either that are commonly sized as us? Is there like a national standard for, street connectivity index?
Yeah, the street connectivity index itself is a pretty fringe sort of land use tool. There's not very many communities that have it at all. I actually contacted some planners in Utah and other places about how they implemented the connectivity index, and a lot of the feedback I got from them was that developers there just kind of treated it as a minimum, and they didn't really like the incentives or, didn't really go for them a lot. So it was kind of just, hey, this is the standard and, we're just going to go about our business. In terms of your question directly, there's not really I don't know. It's there's not really a national standard for street connectivity, I
Fair
guess.
enough. Fair enough. And then, yeah, to your point of the incentives, I'm glad that you had actual developers, like folks that were wanting to incentivize at this meeting, because honestly, I would not know, like, what would be a good incentive. So I'm thankful that developers are able to engage us in that process.
There was some very good open dialogue.
Good.
I thought it was good folks we brought together.
Because it's like, help me, help you kind of thing. I mean, we're all in this together to develop relevant community, or like
But
develop
even just to
building.
have the discussion, I thought was good. I learned a lot
Right.
coming out. I think the people at the meeting have learned, because I don't always think like they think and where
Right.
they have to go based upon what they have to work with. And I hadn't thought of that a lot, and I think we saw it today with that development that is moving forward as well. I think that was a key piece to it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, if I can say something. So, yeah, I think that last PDR that we just talked about is a great example. And we use that in the discussion, that those are some of the, incentives that could be there are the smaller right-of-ways, the narrower streets. And is that something that we want to offer as far as incentives, or do we want them to go through the PDR process to kind of get some of these things? So that's something for you all to consider, is what incentives are we willing to leave open to developers choosing if they meet the index, you know what I mean? So you don't want to give too much or too many options out there just because they meet the connectivity
Right.
index either. So something to think about.
Very good. Thank you.
The only question I have is, how did we come about with the 1.6 when our comprehensive plan was 1.4?
Well, frankly, Charles and I sat down and we looked at the 1.4 and said, I don't know about all that. So it was kind of just a judgment call on our part, saying that, hey, 1.4 is maybe not getting us the intended connectivity. So I don't know. We just have different opinions than the consultants who worked on the comp plan. Oh.
I think it was just a starting point,
Yeah.
Let's see what that looks like. How does that, like you said, how does it compare in town? Can people get up using some of the other ways, the sidewalks, the other things to get higher up, or is that 1.6 not achievable? Because that's the other thing we just talked about. There's a lot of hills in town, a lot of grades that are hard to achieve, and meet the street connectivity, or even just putting sidewalks in. So we don't.
Well, that's the only thing that
we don't want
concern-
every development to come and
Right.
be the exception that, hey, there's a grade problem. Okay, we can't meet it.
Right.
If that's the case, then we don't
Why
even
have
need
it?
to be doing this, right?
That's my only concern, is maybe we should start a little lower and see how it goes. And if they're meeting it, then we can, maybe bump it up in a year or two or something, instead of, I feel like we don't have anything and we're trying to go to 1.6. I don't know how achievable that is what I'm
And
saying.
maybe we have a number that they meet, but then to start the incentives, that is much higher.
Yeah.
Something like that, right? Here's the goal, 1.2.
Right.
At least you want you to meet that. And then 1.6 is where you actually can start getting these incentives.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So different ways, like you said, it's very early. This is just kind of, it's a tough topic, because like he said, there's only a few places that do it. He's talking about Utah and Arizona, places that are a little bit flatter, bigger cities where,
Right.
There's much more development. So if we're going to implement something like this, we're getting really creative here and kind of forging our own path, so.
Very good.
Absolutely.
Any other questions or comments about that to Aaron?
Sad I missed that meeting. I think you guys, as we grow south, and that's our pattern, that presents challenging terrain, no matter which direction we go. And I thank you guys, Vic, Austin, and Aaron, for doing that. That's a great plan. We need to do more of that. We need to be, all of us in this room, on the same page as we grow south. Unless we want to buy farmland across the Missouri River or put in a damn big levee over there.
All right, any other comments? All right, item number 7, code changes. R1C zoning district code change recommendations. Aaron?
All right. So First of all, I'd like to say that in your packet, I have several different markups of different ordinances. Those are just kind of theoretical discussion prompters. I don't want, if you folks think that it's all bad, I can go back to the drawing board, no biggie. So I just want to get that out of the way. But so when I first came on, Darren talked to me and said, hey, this is something that we need to look at, our R1C zoning district, and some potential solutions for the current problems that it's having. So we'll get into it. So why does Washington have the R1C zoning district? So 2008 kind of restructured financing for owner-attached occupied housing or condos. It made it a lot more difficult to get financing for that type of housing. So this district was created as a way to allow duplex owners to subdivide their property to get financing while maintaining the standards of conventional single-family zoning. The district currently has a one-sided 0 lot line setback, a 6-foot side setback, and a 6-foot/10-foot side setback on the other side, conditional on the height of the structure. The district has more restrictive lot coverage standards and setbacks, but a smaller minimum lot size than most of R2, equal minimum lot size to the R2 overlay. So talking about the differences between duplexes and attached single family, duplexes in the R2, attached single family in R1C. Duplex structure with 2 dwelling units on the same piece of land. One owner or an organization owns the underlying land, and the individual units can be sold, rented out, while the original owner still possesses the underlying land. Attached single family, one person owns the whole thing, land and all, and there can be more than one single family, more than one unit in each single family home that's attached to. So townhome style, right? You got like 6 homes in a row all attached to each other. Everyone owns the underlying land. Think like the villas at what's that called? It's on High Street. Villas at, I have it later in the presentation. Anywho, it's a bunch of it's townhome style. Units have a shared wall, shared roof, no shared entrances. So getting to some of the issues with R1C, first is the lot size. So duplex owners in the R2 district who want to subdivide their property and sell part of their duplex or all of their duplex, or just have it financed, need to rezone their property to R1C, because currently we don't allow attached single-family units in R2. Occasionally, property owners run into difficulties as the minimum lot size in the R2 overlay for 2-family dwellings is 6,000 square feet, while the minimum lot size in R1C for one unit is 6,000 square feet. So that's where we get run into a lot of variance requests. Over the past 10 years, Planning and Zoning Department has received 9 variances for properties in the R1C zone to bypass the minimum lot size. Average size of these properties, 4,500 square feet, much lower compared to the minimum lot size of 6,000 square feet for the R1C zone. This is a potential issue that I can see happening with the R1C district, is the maximum lot coverage requirement. So as I mentioned earlier, R2, no minimum lot coverage standards. R1C has a maximum lot coverage standard of 35%. Meaning the structure's area can only be 35% of the lot's total area. This means that some existing R2 lots will not be compliant with current R1C zoning requirements if they're subdivided. So this is an example of this happening. This is a R2 lot south of Highway 100. Its current lot coverage is 37%, so already not meeting the current lot coverage for R1C. If this person were to subdivide this lot, they would be looking at 48% lot coverage for their subdivision, and would need a variance for that. Properties zoned R1C are dispersed throughout Washington, areas zoned R2, both in R2 zones and dispersed along the R2 overlay, kind of bringing up some implications of spot zoning, which is questionable. So currently, if you are a property owner in R2, you can't use your structure as an owner-occupied attached single-family dwelling unless you rezoned R1C and subdivide your property. This image here is just showing that, I mean, you know, R2, R1C, I mean, to the average person, well, you know, walking by or driving by, they're not going to know the difference. You know, it all looks the same to them, and sometimes it's even the same floor plan that has different zoning standards. So I say here, regardless, there's still single-family attached properties zoned R2 within Washington. The additional bureaucracy and administrative costs for us to maintain a separate zoning district for attached single-family units, in my professional opinion, does not make sense, especially since these structures have similar impacts and, as I mentioned, were built with the same floor plan. Talking about this is kind of a separate issue, but still related. Currently, the R1C zoning district only allows for one single-family dwelling unit to be attached to one other single-family dwelling unit. That means that developers who want to create owner-occupied townhome-style development, villas at High Street, that's what it's called. You know, they must rezone to a planned development residential. Attached single-family dwellings have a similar density, transportation needs, and impact neighboring properties as this townhome-style development you see here. From an administrative point of view, as in my opinion, it's bad precedent to set, saying that, you know, we're gonna stop the district at one owner attached unit to another, and hold the line there. So that gets into possible solutions. The first solution is the most clear cut, and that's to just change the R1C district to have a minimum lot size from anywhere from 3,000 feet to 4,500 square feet. And this is because lots in the R2 overlay have a minimum lot size of 6,000 square feet. And also on top of that, removing the lot coverage standard. This would eliminate all the need for variances, or I shouldn't say all, most of the need for variances when rezoning from R2 to R1C. Another solution is allowing single-family attached dwellings as a permitted use in the R2 district, and then additionally removing the side setbacks in R2 to allow for attached single-family units and larger townhome-style developments, and then lowering the minimum lot area, lowering the minimum lot area for single-family dwellings in R2 to 3,000 square feet, and two-family dwellings to 6,000 square feet. Another solution is separating out R2, so creating an R2A district for rename the current R2 district to R2A, and then have a separate R2 district for owner-attached townhome-style developments with zero lot line setbacks. So those are some solutions. I mainly brought this to you all to have a discussion, and if you think one of these is, hey, this is the bee's knees, we can recommend it to go to council. But really, this is just to have a discussion and talk about this, because this is something we've been dealing with for a while. So.
Yeah, we've had quite a few, if you remember, coming through here to have to address this. So I got together with Aaron prior to this meeting because I was unclear myself of what this really was all about. And I would like to probably table it for a month, and maybe if you could send us this PowerPoint that we can sit and digest this a little bit, along with maybe notes of all the changes that you have here, because I think it's something that we need to do, but I want to make sure we have all the things right before we make any changes to it.
Absolutely.
That sounds like a great idea, John.
I think that would be one way to do it, and since Chief Frankenberger's walked up, Chief?
Good evening, thank you. With that, I would ask another favor of staff. Put together basically a table of what the district would be, the square footage, setbacks, front, side yard, so we can kind of get a snapshot of all of that in a single table, to kind of get an understanding of what this is really looking like, because you've got my head spinning right now. I'm gonna be quite honest with you.
The first time I looked through it, when I got the packet.
I'm a
it was
numbers
like-
guy, and I'm struggling here, so a table would really be helpful to look at this, please.
Absolutely.
Very good, thanks.
I agree. Anything to avoid the variance issue we've had to have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they're pretty cut and dried, and then there are the steps that are involved to get them that way. So I
And-
like the direction we're heading. I think because we've seen these before, we kind of know what we're talking about, but then when you start putting the numbers with it, that's when it's like drinking from the fire hose, right? But I think we got a pretty good idea where we want to end up. It's just a matter of how to get there.
A quick statistic I forgot to mention was the number of properties in R1C that have had variances for this issue is 10% of the total properties in the R1C zoning district, which is not an insignificant number. So.
That's pretty much the variance, that's the added bureaucracy that we see with regards to is taking that extra step to go to the Board of Adjustment, get the lot. When we discussed this zoning district, creating this back from when, as Aaron pointed out, the 2008 housing bubble burst and we had started to see problems that banks did not want to go ahead and refinance anything to do with a condo association is basically what it was, how it was brought up. We just said, okay, what's the minimum lot size you want to have then on the side? And we took 12,000 for R2 and just said, okay, split that in half, 6,000 per unit. And as Aaron's pointed out, there's plenty of places in town though where you have just abnormal sized lots or whatever. There was a case on Eugenia Drive up there behind Walmart, I know, that was on the end of a cul-de-sac. It didn't meet that, but, and so that's, I don't, even though I can see the problem that Aaron's brought up with regards to the lot coverage, I don't remember a request going to the Board of Adjustment yet. I don't know if you looked and saw any research.
No, that's a possible issue that we might face in the future. There's been no case of that happening. I just want to, get ahead of that happening because I know that this is the direction that things are headed. We've seen more and more of these. So.
But it's interesting to hear that 10% of the cases that we've had are properties that have requested the R1C, the lot line inclusion or whatever. 10% of them had to go to the Board of Adjustment. So.
And then that's more
And we
cost.
couldn't, I think at that time, some questions were raised and said, well, why don't you just go ahead and take the R1C zoning district and apply that to all of these areas? It's like, well, we don't need to rezone it because some of these don't need it. I mean, they don't, it's like it's kind of up to the buyers if they own it outright, which we saw a lot of them in these older communities where they're owned outright. They don't need the financing, but then they may need it when they come to turn around and go ahead and sell, so.
Yeah, because I sat down with the Apple Blossom group up there, because that's where my parents were living at the time. And I think we had one or two that came through here at that time, but the rest of them, they all owned theirs, and they didn't really see a need or didn't want to pursue it or anything. So I think we need to, number one, eliminate some administrative headaches for people when they come here to, if they incur that type of situation, we need to be able to accommodate.
I think the last couple we've had haven't been a proposed sale. They just wanted
No.
to get it done because their neighbors had a proposed sale on it. So they said, they got together with their neighbor and said, let's go ahead and do it.
Right.
While Frankenberg was down there doing the surveying, they
Yep.
did their neighbors and got it all taken care of. They were just being proactive on proactive on the situation, so they didn't have to worry about it later.
Those areas that you see in pink up there, the R2 overlay that, now that Aaron's got this map up, those are older parts of town, and a lot of times you may have a two-family where it's up above. It's not horizontal, it's vertical. And so you really don't, and a lot of those areas in and around where that pink is outlined on that map do not reflect the type of ranch-style duplex that was built south of 100 primarily, so.
So I think the conclusion is if you can send us the PowerPoint and any information and then try to put together a spreadsheet for, like the chief was asking, and I think that would help us study this a little bit more.
What we
till next
currently
month.
have, what we could be looking at
Right.
on all that, I think you put those back to back.
'Cause I know when I read through all the paperwork, it was like, oh, I gotta go talk to Aaron.
Yep.
Any other comments or from the commission? Anyone else from the audience want to speak to this? Okay,
I'll do my homework.
thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you.
And I think that's it, unless there's any other business to bring to the commission. So next month, when we have a full slate, hopefully we'll select a co-chair then. If nothing else, then I'll entertain one last motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.
Well done, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, you're on fire.
Congrats, John. Well deserved.
I figured so, but I know, I figured I went ahead, so.
So,
I didn't realize that Tom was on this commission so long.
I didn't either, and chairman that long too.
Yeah,
I knew it was a while, but I didn't know that.
always use John.
quite a long time.
My boss, Bill, saw you down at the
Yeah.
front today,
Putting flags up.
putting the flags up. Yeah, he wanted me to like ask you about that, like just, you guys have been doing that for a few years or something?
Yeah, it's been 4 years that the council's been doing it, and it's just whoever can do it at that time. We pretty much share, I know. Mike's done it, I've done it, Jeff's done it,
Sure.
Al's done it.
Pen back.
That might be it. Yeah, Dwayne Reed helped when he was on the council.
Is it,
I'm a stickler
is
for
it like an
details.
official thing with the council that you guys like voted to do that, or you just
No.
do it?
The Police Explorers used to do it, and I guess they disbanded, so when Mike and Al got on the council, they said that they would do it.
Yep.
So then we just help out and try to, whoever can do it at that time, that's who does it.
Sure. I just feel like,
Guide everybody.
just on Front Street that you do it, or?
It's the